Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool. Let's talk about it.
Boom.
Now, this has come as a surprise to everyone, I think, certainly myself anyway. Jurgen Klopp has actually quit Liverpool. Well, he will be quitting at the end of the season. I think it's just mad. I just did not expect this to be happening on my Friday morning. Now, straight away, I have watched the interview. If you haven't watched it yet, I suggest you do. He discusses why he's decided to leave at the end of the season and so on. In his explanation, he technically said he was tired, he's worn out, which I can totally understand. Now, I remember seeing tweets last year, and a Liverpool fan was basically saying, I think Klopp needs to go, he needs to be sacked, blah, blah, blah. All this nonsense, really. This was last season, by the way, when they were struggling. They weren't in the top four. They were battling it out for a Europa League place, which they did eventually get. And I straight away just thought, I thought to myself, Klopp isn't getting sacked. He'll never be sacked by Liverpool. I just don't think that, well, we know it's not going to happen, but I just didn't think that would ever happen. They could be mid-table in the Premier League, and I still don't think he'd be let go. That's just how good of a manager he is and what he's done for Liverpool. And I always thought he'd leave on his own terms. That is the only thing with him. Same with Pep Guardiola. I don't think he'll ever get sacked. He'll leave on his own terms at City. I just knew that about Klopp. So when all these Liverpool fans and rival fans are saying, Klopp sack, get him out, it was never going to happen, let's face it. I genuinely thought this would happen last year. I thought last year he would do this sort of interview and leave at the end of last season where they failed to get Champions League football. I thought that was a good way to go out. Maybe he was tired then. And that's probably been in his decision. I think last season's finish and last season's struggles are sort of, because I've seen in the interview as well, it was in November when he made his mind up, so it's been quite a while, he's been thinking about this. That team he built as well, especially last season, was all coming to an end. You had players running off to Saudi. In the end, the midfield couldn't hack it. Fabinho, Jordan Henderson left. Sadio Mane obviously left at the start of last season, so they were losing the squad that Jurgen Klopp built. But in fairness, what he's done this year with the team, with the rebuild he's done, especially that midfield, he's totally rebuilt a midfield in the space of a year. He's brought in Endo, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, 4 signings, all in the midfield, and you struggle and you don't know which one to pick each week. And that's what he's done. He's let go of loads of midfielders and he's brought in a proper midfield. He's rebuilt the team in a year. Not the full team. They still need, obviously, other signings, which the new manager will be doing, obviously, because Klopp won't be there. He's got young players coming through as well. You've got players like Núñez who are finally starting to get into some form, finishing chances. Still, there's obviously lots to do with Núñez. There's still a lot of work to do with him, but he's improving. Jota as well and Diaz, they're getting a bit more consistent. Van Dijk's back to his prime. Trent's having a stormer of a season, so I am actually quite shocked that he's doing it this season. It's actually amazed me. I thought he would continue to build on that team and it'll be a team that's set up to win or challenge for different titles, the Premier League title in particular, for the next 3 or 4 years. That's the sort of path I thought he was going down. It's not too dissimilar to Sir Alex Ferguson, actually, at United, who would recognise a certain group of players were, coming towards the end or the tenure of their career, the United career. He'd move them on. He'd keep a few of them, but he'd move them on and bring in a whole bunch of new players that he thought was ready. And I think Klopp is similar in that way with Sir Alex Ferguson, getting rid of a few players, bringing new ones in, that straight away getting to the starting 11. He's done that with the midfield this year. But the ramifications of this could be huge. It could be a similar situation to Sir Alex. Not that they're the same level of ability, but, I think Sir Alex is still the greatest manager ever, always will be for me. But Jurgen Klopp, one of Liverpool's greatest, or if not the greatest Liverpool manager, they're similar in that sort of way. And will it have a ramification? Will Liverpool get a new manager in? And will they fail like David Moyes did at Man United? So it will be interesting to see who takes over this job at the end of the year. I mean, I'm going to do a separate video on this anyway where I discuss loads of different candidates of who could potentially be the new manager. I just think it's crazy this. To wake up on a Friday morning like this, I'm ready and pumped to go. I've had to come in here and do this video because it's mental news. It's massive news, especially for the Premier League as a neutral. As a Man United fan myself, it's massive. 464 games and 7 trophies won for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. A decent record. Starting to bring trophies back to Liverpool as well, which is, what Liverpool fans wanted at the end of the day. I think every team wants that. Won their first ever Premier League, and of course they're still able to win 4 trophies this season. They're into a Carabao Cup final in which they'll play Chelsea, so they're probably odds-on favourite to win that. I would suggest anyway. Still in the Europa League, still in the FA Cup, and of course top of the Premier League as things stand. Maybe this is the best way for Jurgen Klopp to go out. Will the players be up for it now? Jurgen Klopp in his last few months as Liverpool manager, the players might play for him or they might crumble instead with immense pressure on the backs with 4 trophies to win and Jurgen Klopp's final ever season. It's going to be one of them. We're going to see how that goes. Again, like I said, I'm going to do a video on who I think should replace Jurgen Klopp at the end of the season. I think there's a lot of managers who, you know, have been thrown around recently, but there's a few in my mind and a few that we're going to combine into a video anyway over the weekend, so stay tuned for that as well. Where does that leave Jurgen Klopp? He said, obviously, he doesn't think he'll manage again, certainly not in England. I do think he will manage again. I think it may be in 1 or 2 years' time. I can see himself being in an international, rejuvenating himself and getting an international team. You know, it's a slower sort of football. Maybe the Brazil job, the Germany job. We know he's been wanting that for the past few years as well. An international side strikes me as his next move. A much slower brand of football where he doesn't have to stress as much. I don't see him retiring. He's got too much left. He's got so much more to give in the game of football. As a United fan, I can't lie, I am happy about this news. Not like, well, in the aspect of it's one of the best managers in the league who manages my biggest rivals team. Again, he's been not dominating, but he's been pushing Manchester City and Pep for years. So, era's come to an end. Ten Hag said it himself. He knew what he was doing. No, but on a real, again, maybe United can finally compete again with Jurgen Klopp out of the Premier League. I hope so anyway. But as a neutral, it will be a big miss for the Premier League in my opinion. I think he is sort of a big character in the Premier League. A lot of fans are going to miss him. I've seen Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, I'm gutted Klopp's going, I'm gutted." Like, they actually are quite gutted, and they're Arsenal fans. It's mad, it's mad. Where do you think Jurgen Klopp will end up over the next few years? I think he's gonna take time out. We know that, I think. And also, who do you think will be the new manager of Liverpool? I've got a video, like I've said about 3 times already today. I'm doing it over the weekend, so we'll discuss all the different candidates and all the different managers I think could be the next one. So, yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. That'll be a good video. That's where we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one.